Few men have so perfectly embodied the virtues of elegance and mystery as Alain Delon. With a face that could stop you in your tracks and a wardrobe that whispered old money, he became a cultural icon of the 1960s and 70s. But it wasn't just the clothes or the films, it was the way that he carried himself, with this effortless poise that still inspires us today. So today, on the 1-year anniversary of his death, I wanted to create this video to understand what made him such a lasting cultural figure. This is the story of how Alain Delon became and remains the standard of masculine elegance. Hi everyone, I'm Nick and welcome to my channel where I discuss gents' style and lifestyle. If you're new here, consider subscribing because I put out weekly content. If you've ever watched Alain Delon in his prime, you'll know that his beauty was unlike anyone else's for the time. He had these statuesque features, sharp cheekbones, a defined jaw, and these icy blue eyes that carried a sense of intensity. He had this refined look, but there was also something about him, something dangerous underneath. Like he could be sipping champagne on the Riviera one minute and throwing a punch the next. I can't remember when I first found out about him, but I've long had pictures of him saved as a style icon on my desktop mood board. There's something about his look that's just so magnetic. He had this mix of elegance and edge that captured people's attention. In many ways, that's what made him so compelling and so desired by filmmakers and society. And it also challenged the social norms at the time. Post-war Europe was undergoing rapid changes, and his look challenged traditional masculine beauty standards of the 1960s, fascinating some and unsettling others. But his allure was just so captivating, and the culture responded. Alain Delon became a reference point for masculine elegance in cinema, fashion, photography, and even the way other men wanted to be seen. Old money style may be popular now, but long before it became a trend, there were several actors that embodied that sense of style, and one of the best was Alain Delon. On screen, you'd see him wearing well-tailored suits, muted colors, fine fabrics, all with an elegant silhouette. Off screen, you'd see him on the Riviera in linen shirts, tailored trousers, and sunglasses. He never overdid it with loud colors or over-the-top accessories. He stuck to slim dress watches, tortoiseshell sunglasses, and classic leather belts. Even his grooming was effortless. He kept his hair neat and was clean-shaven or had at least well-maintained stubble. He mastered the old money aesthetic long before it had been invented, and it wasn't just the way that he dressed. His lifestyle also matched. He frequently went yachting, attended high society events, and spent summers in the south of France. This added to his influence. Men wanted to be him, women wanted to be with him. Delon's style became ingrained forever in European culture, inspiring everyone from designers to editorial stylists. So if you're looking for someone to take inspiration from for the old money aesthetic, there's probably no one better than Alain Delon. Delon starred in several roles that cemented his legacy as a cultural icon. And if you want to understand his appeal, you really need to see him in his most iconic roles. On screen, he had this magnetic presence. Even in scenes with minimal movement or dialogue, his look still commanded attention. Alain Delon's breakthrough came with Purple Noon in 1960, where he played Tom Ripley, who was charming, elegant, and just dangerous enough to keep you on edge. You couldn't quite trust him, but you couldn't look away either. A few years later in The Leopard, he stepped into aristocratic Italy and held his own alongside Burt Lancaster, becoming the face of a new generation, replacing the old. Then there's Le Samouraï, which might actually be his most iconic role, where he barely even spoke, yet every move, every glance was deliberate. You felt the danger without him ever raising his voice. And in La Piscine in 1969, he swapped out the trench coat for linen shirts, drawing you into a slow burn story of jealousy and desire under the Mediterranean sun. These roles were great performances because they were an extension of who Delon really was. When you watch him on screen, you're not just seeing a character, you're seeing him. Elegance, danger, and mystery, all in one. Let me paint a picture of masculinity in the 1960s. It was often loud, physical, and obvious. His peers like Sean Connery and Steve McQueen thrived on bravado. Like picture Steve McQueen and Paul Newman at the time. They wore denim, they wore leather jackets, and they did motorsports. Whereas Delon, on the other hand, relied on a sense of stillness. If you watch his movies, you'll see how his composure draws in your focus. He made elegance feel strong and showed audiences that vulnerability could exist alongside confidence. He also made it okay for men to be more than just tough. You could be vulnerable, mysterious, and even a little flawed, and that just made you more interesting. You see echoes of that in actors today like Daniel Craig or Ryan Gosling, where it's all about subtlety and control. And in his films, the camera often admired him in the same way it would a female star, something that's a lot more common now. In a lot of ways, he helped shape the modern idea of a man who finds strength in silence and power in elegance. Even now, in 2025, 65 years after his breakthrough role in Purple Noon, Alain Delon's presence still lingers in our collective imagination. He's an icon of quiet luxury and the old money aesthetic, and you'll see his influence in fashion shoots and in the way certain actors carry themselves. Watch someone like Daniel Craig as Bond or Ryan Gosling in Drive, and you'll see the same stillness and control Delon had in Le Samouraï. His images still appear in style mood boards, magazine spreads, and brand campaigns, showing how his visual aesthetic continues to resonate today. And like I said previously, his impact on masculinity and his role in changing it still carries a lot of weight today. He became a cultural benchmark for modern masculinity in France and beyond. When I think about style, confidence, and presence, I always end up coming back to Delon because he's the kind of man who reminds you that elegance never goes out of fashion. And that's what made him so iconic. Trends fade, stars come and go, but Delon's image remains untouched. And that's the mark of a man who didn't just live in his time, he defined it. Gents, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like and comment below your favorite Alain Delon film. Thanks for watching.
Alors, votre mot préféré, Alain Delon?
Honneur.
Le mot que vous détestez?
Virtuel.
Votre drogue favorite?
L'amour.
Le son, le bruit que vous aimez?
Le bruit du loup. Le hurlement du loup la nuit dans la forêt.
Le son, le bruit que vous détestez?
Le bruit des fusils qui tirent les loups et tous les autres animaux.
Votre juron, gros mot ou blasphème favori?
Ah ça, vous l'allez chercher.
Oui.
Putain de merde.
Putain de merde, c'est bien français.
Eh ben voilà.
C'est très bien.
Mais je suis bien français, croyez-moi.
Homme ou femme pour illustrer un nouveau billet de banque?
Je dirais Charles de Gaulle ou Brigitte Bardot, et pourquoi pas les deux.
Le métier que vous n'auriez pas aimé faire?
Maître nageur.
Ah oui, la piscine.
J'ai horreur de l'eau et puis je me serais très vite ennuyé, j'aurais pas la patience.
La plante, l'arbre ou l'animal dans lequel vous aimeriez être réincarné?
Alors tout de suite, un Malinois, c'est un berger belge.
Et si Dieu existe, qu'aimeriez-vous après votre mort l'entendre vous dire à vous, Alain Delon?
Alors je vais vous le dire. Puisque tel est ton plus grand et ton plus profond regret, je le sais. Viens, je te mène à ton père et ta mère, afin que pour la première fois, enfin, tu les vois ensemble.